just do mental health, or if I actually want to go into the addictions field.
So tell me a little more about the program that you're studying.
The program is great at school. However, with my job, I go to a lot of treatment centers.
Okay.
And I see what the therapists are doing over there, and I see the level of care the clients are getting, and I don't agree with it. Everything is so insurance based driven. I don't really see that the clients are getting the right. I don't see that the clients are getting like the right treatment. And the problem with that is because it's difficult for somebody to go into treatment and spend 10 grand or 20 grand out of pocket. They have to use their insurance. And because the insurance company dictate what they do, I guess the insurance company does not recognize certain addictions, being that it is an addiction, and they don't realize that an individual who has been living this way of life needs 60 to 90 days before their behavior can actually change from one lifestyle to the next, especially when somebody's lived a certain way for 10 to 15 years. You can't expect somebody just to change within a week or two.
Sure. So if I understand right, the idea of working within the framework of the insurance company and that process frustrates you.
Absolutely, yes. It frustrates me because that's, in my personal opinion, the client doesn't get the care that they need. And what happens is that they go back out after treatment, and they end up relapsing because there wasn't enough client care.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go work for a treatment center and be frustrated to the fact that I have to bow down to the policies and procedures of an insurance company.
Yeah.
And have an owner or a CEO that does not appreciate the field of addictions and dictate how things need to be done.
So I'm sensing you feel as if the insurance company and the people in charge at the treatment centers possibly are looking at an individual more as a moneymaker rather than how can they really help get to the heart of the matter and what's happening to the actual person and improve their character to go out into the real world.
Yeah, I mean, like anything else, a business is a business. It has to be run as a business in order to go. However, the expectation of what a treatment center wants to make is ridiculous. I mean, when I go and I do these audits, almost every treatment center that I go to, they're making about $1 million a year. I mean, that's a respect. How many businesses can actually say make $1 million a year?
Sure.
It's a lot of money. Well, if you're making that kind of money, why not give back more?
Yeah.
Throw the insurance company out sometimes. Let the client stay there for a little bit. I mean, you're already paying your staff. To do the work. Why not just let them stay there a little bit more? But it's just this model that they're using. It doesn't sit well with me.
So, when we first started, I remember you saying you're looking at mental health or addiction. So, if that were the addiction side, then tell me what it might look like for you to pursue the mental health.
I think with mental health, it's been a little bit more recognized in the field. I think that because of a lot of the situations that's happened in the past 2-3 years, people are understanding that it's not because somebody's crazy or because somebody wants to do something. It's actually because they have some kind of mental illness that they're struggling with. So I think the expectation of treatment with mental health is more understanding than the treatment of addiction. I think that they can expect that an individual suffering from mental illness will have to be going to counseling for about 6 months to a year.
Okay. So you feel that possibly it's less cumbersome to work in the mental health side than the addiction side?
Yes, I do. I just feel bad because I really want to help on both ends. And
Sure.
I know I'm gonna get frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm gonna get real frustrated with the way these substance abuse treatment centers run their business model.
Sure. Now, when you meet an individual who at a treatment center is now and what you're doing, can you tell me what that's like as far as figuring out what you're saying is you're going to get frustrated, as I'm hearing you say you will be frustrated in working in the setting, but when you actually meet with the client, are there things that you encounter that allows this frustration to become apparent in the actual setting with them?
Well, when I meet with the clients, they seem fine,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because they're actually in the treatment. You know, they're actually getting help.
Sure.
What happens is I want to meet with the client after they get out of treatment,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when they'll actually experience the culture shock of being exposed to a world that either hasn't existed in about 10 to 15 years
Mm-hmm.
or may have never existed to them. You know, I mean, the majority of these kids, they relapse because the rejection, you know, the stigma that comes with being an addict.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they want to go and get a job, if they get rejected, or you know, the hiring manager says we're not looking for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for an average individual who is expecting that to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and is on the job hunt for quite a while, reacts differently than an individual who walks out of treatment. Somebody who walks out of treatment, somebody says that to them, the first thing they're going to think to themselves is because I'm a drug addict.
Yeah.
It's because, you know, I'm not qualified, or I'm stupid, or, you know, why am I doing this? You know, if they're going to reject me, what makes the next person going to reject me or want to hire me? So what happens? They go right back into what their comfort zone is,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going straight back into their addiction, because it's easier to go back into the hole
Sure.
than come out of it.
So it sounds as if you're worried for the clients who go through the addictions process in the treatment center of their retention rate of what the care they're receiving
Yeah,
from the clinicians.
yeah, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Okay, so in the mental health side, you know, what would that look like differently to the retention possibly, as you're describing in the addiction side, that could bring new light to possibly help the frustration that you're feeling in this decision you have to make?
With mental health, it could be a little bit different. I'm struggling with one thing with mental health though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with mental health, the reason I want to do mental health is because I truly strongly believe that an individual, before they get medicated,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they need to have some sort of talk therapy. You know, what I've seen a lot of today is somebody comes into the office,
Mm-hmm.
they do this assessment, you know, and if the psychiatrists feel that after this assessment that they are either borderline or manic depressive or whatever title they want to put on that individual, they go ahead and write them the script. You know, instead of taking the time to do talk therapy with them for maybe a month, maybe 2 months, to see if maybe they can help modify the behavior, or see if this individual might see things a little differently, they go straight to the medication.
Mm-hmm.
And then that medication could be addictive as well,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it goes back into substance abuse.
Yeah.
So it kind of ties in with each other, and what I want to do with mental health is concentrate on helping the individual without bringing the medication in the process.
Okay, so it sounds to me as if even just kind of as you go in the process, what's important to you is to monitor the progress of the client to see that when they actually go out into the world, they're on the right track and that they are getting the care they need so that it can help their greater good.
Right.
That's important to you.
And I'm not saying that everybody doesn't need medication. I believe that they need to be given the opportunity to work on what they have going on in their lives before medication comes into play.
Sure.
You know, because when medication comes into play, then what's to say that if this individual stops taking this medication, that they won't have withdrawal symptoms and that they won't be addicted to this. You know, there's not an educational process to this.
Yeah.
You know, and one thing leads to another with addiction. You know, it goes hand in hand with mental health.
So if you could provide an educational process to a client, what would that look like?
Well, I mean, first, you know, there's a lot of great assessments out there. You know, to help you determine where the client stands. You know, based on that, with mental health, I feel that they should be doing like talk therapy, kind of like what we're doing. You know, instead of saying, here's a prescription, you know, go. You know, if I feel that that's not getting anywhere, then I would educate them on the next step, which is the medication process. You know, let them know that this is where you are, and this is where we want you to be, and because this is not working out, let's try this way of doing things. But I want you to understand that, you know, these are the side effects, this is what could happen. And I don't think these clients are actually educated about all that stuff. I don't think they know what to expect.
Okay, so you feel in a way held back in the process from giving the care to the clients that you feel they need based upon these, maybe the way insurance lines up the actual therapy session.
Right, and that's why in my studies, you know, I'm not sure on where I want to go. I mean, I'm studying for both. It's just now I'm thinking a little bit further and saying, okay, what do I really want to do with this?
Yeah.
You know, do I really want to go into the addiction field with it? Or do I want to work with disorders? Do I want to work with kids to prevent them from going down that route? I mean, you know, everything's in the air right now.
Yeah, it seems you're kind of thinking globally about what your options might be once you get to that position.
And I want to enjoy what I do.
I
mean, I think that this field has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that the investment I make within myself is going to be long term.
Sure, you feel that it's important to you to find value in your work.
Absolutely. Yes, I want to make sure that when I wake up in the morning, you know, I'm waking up for a purpose. You know, I'm waking up knowing that I'm going to make some sort of difference, you know, in the world, whether it's to help one person or whether it's to help 100 people. You know, if I can make a difference in one person's life,
sure,
you know, and that's all I do is just one person's life, then everything that I've invested myself in was worth every penny, you know, time and money.
Sure. So what would a session look like, one in your definition, that could be a really effective session in possibly the mental health side?
The mental health is difficult to say because as we're learning, you know, there's a lot of disorders that are out there. You know, because there's a lot of personality traits that, you know, a lot of people come across, whether it's because of their culture or their environment that they grew up in, what society has put on them, if they went through anything when they were younger. I mean, it's a lot, you know. I think that to get a better understanding, you know, they have a few assessments that has been placed out, you know, for them to take a couple of those assessments so that it'll give me a better understanding of what I'm dealing with.
So you feel an assessment would be a valuable resource to use within the session?